Well, that was pretty damn epic, wasn't it? If you haven't checked it out yet, the Rise of the Beast trailer just dropped.
Better late than never, I guess.
And honestly, I was expecting a really short and vague teaser, maybe getting a look at some of the Transformers in silhouette or something, maybe a shot of some trees in the jungle rustling, and then you get a little glimpse of a robot eye or something. But damn, this gave us quite a bit. And I feel like we're owed that, you know, as fans, after they delayed it by a whole year. So let's go through it together, but before we do, make sure you subscribe, because I just happened to have finished the first part of my Beast Wars comic review. That'll be a 3-parter probably. Also, make sure you watch to the end of this video, because I have a theory, kind of a dark one, which asks if Rise of the Beasts is gonna kill off a major character, and it's not Optimus. Hi, welcome back to the Inside of My Head, where we've got our first proper look at my own personal hairy robot monkey Jesus, Optimus Primal, and he looks pretty damn amazeballs. Pretty big though, if the idea is that he disguises himself with the common Earth gorilla. I mean, unless we're talking about like juvenile Kong from Skull Island, then, you know, maybe, but damn, he's big, right? But I think he looks great. He looks powerful, he looks heavy, those green eyes look badass, and as we know from Titan's Return, Ron Perlman doing the voice works really well. Much better in my opinion than what we had in War for Cybertron Kingdom, but I've voiced my issues with that plenty in previous vids. So anyway, Primal jumps into the scene and meets Optimus Prime. My name is Optimus Primal. Monkey! Remember at the end of Bumblebee, Prime showed up on Earth, ominously tells him that there is a darkness coming. Hello darkness, my old friend. Then we get a shot of this bridge and all the lights are flickering. I've come to talk with you again. Then there's a couple of shots of B transforming from his Camaro iteration rather than the VW bug form that he had in Bumblebee. Then we get a look at Mirage, the silver Porsche 964, which I googled, and it was sold between 1989 and 1994, which might give us some indication of when this movie is set. Keyboard detective on the case. Our new Hume character gets into Mirage, sees the Autobot badge on the steering wheel, and next thing you know, he's speeding down the highway in a sports car that's rearranging itself around him. And I love how the seat is slowly spinning to give him the full view of all this WTF happening around him. But what's awesome about this is that Mirage has ended up facing backwards in this police chase and is reversing along this highway, but then just transforms itself to face the other direction. It's brilliant. Then, making good on his name, Mirage beams out a series of holograms projecting several other Porsches and misdirecting this poor Hume Schmo police officer and leading him to crash. Then we see Cheetor racing Bumblebee in his off-road spec. And these two characters side by side is always awesome, isn't it? Because Cheetor was always like the Beast Wars equivalent of B in early Beast Wars, the young sort of self-assured cocky one, you know what I mean. I love how these robot designs have gone bio-organic in that they have all of the usual components, but also fur and feathers and other bits and bobs to help them pass for real animals. This is mentioned briefly in the Beast Wars comics, by the way. I'll talk about that more in those videos. Then we have Air Razor, atomic breathing the shit out of this bridge with what looks like Optimus running along it. So there's obviously some kind of conflict between the Autobots and Maximals initially, probably before they've had a chance to talk it out and figure out that they're actually on the same side. I expect very much like War for Cybertron Kingdom. As I've mentioned before, Rise of the Beast will probably be more than just Autobots versus Decepticons. It'll probably revolve around factions a little bit more with the introduction of the Maximals and Terracons. Check out my video about the Terracons. That'll have all you need to know about the history of those guys in there, and also about how they combine to form Abominus, which I don't think is very likely for this movie. I mean, I would be super pumped if it was. Just on Air Razor, looks awesome. Again, like the other Maximals, much bigger and more substantial than I was expecting. This is the Maximal that I was most worried about. She had the most chance of coming out kind of crap. But atomic breath, man! Wow, that's some serious firepower. There's a running battle with Mirage dodging a landslide of some kind, with Optimus falling in the background while shooting at possibly Scourge here. I think this is Scourge, like if you look at the length of his arm, and by the rusty colors, I would say this is Scourge. Then we see Bumblebee getting impaled by Scourge and held up by the neck while showing off this elongated claw hand, which looks like one of those things you see at scrap yards for picking up totaled cars. It looks awesome. And he looks awesome. I was kind of expecting him to be bulkier somehow, but yeah, I'm good with this. He looks pretty good. Then the next shot is an interesting one, as the two of them, it looks like they either disappear into or appear out of some kind of energy portal, or it's the biggest blast of energy like ever. Make a mental note of this. Then we get a glory shot of another one of my favorites, Rhinox, and you could already tell he's gonna be boss. He's got this huge glowing turbine in the back of his throat, and I wonder if this is the first shot that we see of Rhinox, like waking up from a stasis pod or something, because the turbine seems to be stuttering and sparking, and just like the way the shot is framed and everything, it really seems like an introduction to me. Then is the massive battle shot, which starts with, I can't remember who this is. Then we get Cheetor somersaulting off of a boulder whilst transforming. Can't wait to see what they've done with his robot mode, by the way. His robot mode in the original Beast Wars was one I was never quite that keen on. He always seemed too kind of spindly and skinny to me. I mean, I know a cheetah is a slender animal, but also the shape of his head. I didn't really like how the fact there was a brain in his weapon. Like, what, was he just going around pew-pewing knowledge at everybody? Like, why was there an organic brain in there at all? Just in case somebody autopsied him and was like, oh, yeah, there it is. This is a normal cheetah. It's not a robot at all. Oh, and there it is. There's Cheetor's robot mode and Rhinox's robot mode. They've got their battle masks on, and they look ace. Then we get to see Optimus Primal's robot mode, and he looks so cool here. I'm glad to say that they've kept his curved swords. Hopefully he has the jetpack too. In my opinion, that jetpack gave us some of the best moments in Beast Wars. Then we see that he attaches the swords to a chain and starts flailing them the fuck around, which is something I don't recollect seeing him ever do before. Now that I think about it, he might have done that in Kingdom. I don't remember. Feel free to refresh my memory. But you know that this is going to inflict a serious amount of damage. If you look carefully at this shot too, you can see that he can attach them together to form more of a spear or a double-edged sword. What do you call these? It's like a bow katana but bladed. Bow katana, bow staff. Bow katana's her from Mandalorian, right? My brain sometimes. Also, we see Optimus with his swords out, with their glowing red edges reminiscent of the first Bayformers, if I remember correctly. Basically, these swords heat up to allow him to cut through steel easier. Savage. And then, just like in the intro of Transformers Prime, just as Primal and Scourge make impact with each other, it cuts to the main title. By the way, that intro is still up there with my favorite parts of the Transformer franchise. In fact, Transformers Prime might be something that I look at in the future, because even though it's aimed at a slightly younger audience, it's so underrated. Also worth noting about this shot here is this mega structure right here. Probably some doomsday device that'll ruin our planet for us humans in some way or another, either by exploding our sun or bringing Cybertron to Earth. I mean, what could it... What if it's a Titan? Like, what if it's one of those Titans that turns into a city? Please, 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 please. Trypticon, perhaps. Ooh. Show of hands for Trypticon versus Metroplex in Rise of the Beasts? Yeah, I thought so. Probably not going to happen, though. And now I've disappointed myself. Anyway, most intriguing about this trailer are the words uttered by Primal. Of all of the threats you faced from both your past and future, you've never faced anything like this, which is the strongest implication that there will be time travel in Rise of the Beasts. I was wondering if there would be some new way of bringing the Maximals into the story, but it's most likely that, as in Beast Wars and War for Cybertron Kingdom, there will be some transwarp stuff going on, which is basically a time travel drive for their ships. In brief, Beast Wars started when the Predacons stole a golden disc and jumped back in time with it, with the Maximals in pursuit. So it's a safe bet that this will go in a similar direction. It occurred to me also that this might not be Earth at all. There's no vegetation, there's these weird bridge structures, and if there is time travel involved, it could be a flashback or a flash forward to another time and another planet. Alternate future, perhaps? Who knows? Hopefully, though, this is a snippet of a full battle and not just a prologue or something like in the Bumblebee movie, where the best part of the movie was confined to what, a 10-15 minute prologue? There's also this shot too, which really reminds me of the protoforms that the Maximal ship, the Axelon, jettisons into orbit, so I wonder what these will turn out to be. Perhaps the biggest thing that struck me though is that this trailer seems to point to Mirage being the main character. And hear me out. Just as we've seen in previous movies, Bumblebee being our sort of entry point. So, for example, we meet our human protagonist, then they form a bond with the car, i.e. B, then that leads us into the wider world of Transformers. I wonder if we're seeing the same thing with this kid and his bonding with Mirage, which might put this guy at the forefront of the movie. And I quite like that idea. My hero's always going to be Prime, but I'm really glad that one of the other bots has got some of the spotlight. Just as long as there is enough Prime, enough B, you know. Which leads on to the thought that I'm going to leave you with, the theory that I spoke about at the start of the video. Is it possible that they will kill off Bumblebee in this movie? They're bringing in a new character, it looks like. One that fills the same character space, so to speak, if you know what I mean. In the same kind of way that they killed off Prime in the 1982 movie to replace him with Rodimus Prime. Gotta sell those new toys. And just look at these shots. Could we be seeing the death of Bumblebee? That's a pretty scary thought. The one thing that makes me doubt this, though, is if they were going to kill off such a big character, would they put it in the trailer? Probably not. So I'm thinking they might kill him off, like, temporarily, much like they did with Prime in Revenge of the Fallen. And the Autobots and Maximals have to go and find some component or a new spark or something to bring him back to life at the end of the movie. I don't know, just a silly little theory. Anyway, you guys, let's leave that there for now. Let me know your thoughts about the trailer, your theories, and make sure you're subscribed for all the good Transformers stuff that is coming your way on this channel. But for now, it's time for me to take my meds, so let me invite you to get out of my head, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and cheerio, bye!